the trailer launch of the Amazon Prime Video and Pritish Nandi Communications' very exciting next venture, the Prime original series, Four More Shots. Please. I think that just deserves a big, big round of applause. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of show that is going to give you that window, that sneak peek into the world of today's women. The women that we have showcased in this show, they are extremely progressive, and this show gives you a very realistic point of view of the kind of things that happen. That's the date that you can sit with that popcorn, those Prime Video India. Please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. This is always, a very humbling moment to stand in front of all of you and actually receive a round of applause for a show that, believe me, is my personal favorite. I was just sharing that with Pritish in the morning, that there's so many things that are super exciting about this show. Not in the least the fact that it is, I think, a labor of love that and a story that deserves to be told. But before I launch into that, I wanted to, talk about 2018. It's been a fantastic year for us at Prime Video. Our constant endeavor is to provide our customers with the widest variety of compelling content across various formats, be it shows, movies, comedy specials, and so on and so forth. And I think what is really important for us at Prime Video is our constant mission to transform the way Indian customers consume content and how Indian content creators create these stories. I think one huge highlight in the last 12 months has been the success of our originals. We had one in 2017, Inside Edge, which incidentally went on to be the first fiction series to ever get nominated for an international Emmy. And then in 2018, we had 5 originals. As much as I'm so excited to begin the year with 4 More Shots, Please, we were equally excited to, bring in the Christmas celebrations with a bang. Mirzapur went on to, it was a genre-defining show, went on to, wow audiences across India and around the world. And that gives us even more confidence to stay on the path of getting the best stories, the most compelling ones, and deliver them at the highest quality to our customers in India and all over the world. As we begin 2019, I think one stamp of approval that we are seeking from our customers is our ability to tell fresh stories with unique voices. And I cannot emphasize how excited we all are to start the year off with 4 More Shots, Please. To hear a lot more about that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Pritish Nandi, friend, partner, CEO, chairman, journalist, and most importantly, he and his team are really the driving force behind getting us this show. Pritish.
Hi, everybody. Exactly in the year Jeff Bezos was getting married, I founded PNC. The purpose of PNC was to try and make content that was or would be different. I thought that in most areas of audiovisual content, people were following the herd, and we thought that maybe we could break it. So we first started with the biggest election show ever done in India. We did the biggest exit poll. Then we did the biggest movie of that time, shot entirely in Hollywood, Kate. I don't want to take names because the only name that should reverberate here today is 4 More Shots, Please. Then from there, we moved on to make we went on to make 25 movies. Most of them have broken fresh ground. And now, this year, 25 years later, we enter streaming with a show that means a great deal to us. It's a show that's about women, and don't we love them all? And this show is not really meant for women to watch. Indeed, as Vijay said, I think it's meant mainly for men to watch, because it will answer all those questions that you have in your mind, all those niggling questions of what women want, what does my wife want, what does my girlfriend want, what does anyone want? We never know the answers to that, but you might get some clues out here. The show is magical. It's effervescent, happy, dramatic. It talks about lives, the lusts, the romances, the marriages, some successful, some not, of women in South Bombay. That's where it's cited, essentially. And through this, you see a city coming alive. You see a generation coming alive. You see a completely new lot of people we are now trying to understand, cope with, and live our lives and share our lives with. I think it's a show you will have a lot of fun with. 4 more shots, please. I'd like to welcome on the stage for this the people who are behind this show. There are lots of people actually behind this show, and most of them, almost all of them entirely, are women. But I'd like to call onto the show 4 of the prime creators of the show. My daughter, Rungita. She's tiny.
Stairs are scary.
Then the director of the show, Anu Menon. The lovely, lovely Anu Menon, who's made some pretty interesting movies before, but I'm disallowed to talk about anything else other than 4 more shots, please. Then I'd like to call on the stage the writer of the show, Devika. Where's she? Where's she? That makes 3 bongs on the stage, and the Tamilian. She is a bong.
Bomb or bomb? No,
Bomb.
coming up.
He meant 3 bombs.
Huh?
He meant 3 bombs.
Wait, there's more.
And there's 1 more person I'm going to call on the stage who certainly is a bong, Ishita. Ishita Moitra.
While we're extremely grateful to have this powerhouse crew, this show would not have been possible without this one person whose vision was unrelenting to bring the show alive. And I'd like to call upon stage Aparna Purohit, the head of series development for Amazon.
So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the female force that has come together to give you 4 more shots, please. So gentlemen, while it's been wonderful having both of you on the stage, I'm going to ask you to step down just for a minute so that I can have a moment with all these ladies.
Lovely.
Thank you so much. So we're just going to get some chairs together for all of you over here. And really quickly for waiting. Devika has been a screenwriter for the Indian film industry for the past 15 years. And you, for over 500 episodes across several mainstream TV series and a number of films. So there you have it, that female force that has come together to put this show. So just ladies, really quickly, I want to ask each and every one of you, what was for you, I'll start with you, Aparna, what was the thought when the show came to you? What was the thought, the first thought that you had? Was it just immediately like, we got to do this, and this is so exciting? What was going through your mind?
It was refreshing. The narration that Rangita and Ishita gave to us was breathtakingly refreshing. It was about women who are a lot like me. They're unapologetic, they are flawed, they have desires, they are fiercely competitive, and they have a mind. And very rarely do we see a portrayal like that of women. There was no way that we were not going to tell this story. We just knew it as they narrated to us that this is a story that must be told.
Rangita, I'm good. Do you have a mic there? Yeah. How did the show come together for you? I mean, was this like a thought that the two of you had, or how did the whole thing get sparked?
So I think what happened is Amazon came to India. And, you know, we were talking to them. Yeah. My younger sister, Ishita, who is a co-creator, showrunner, and co-producer with me, but who's extremely media shy, so she's hiding somewhere there. So the two of us, we met Aparna and her team at Amazon. And what was genuinely lovely, and this is Amazon, right? One of the bigger brands, one of the biggest brands out there in streaming. They didn't throw box office, cast, variables, you know, vulnerabilities, none of that stuff at us. What they did tell us is, give us a story. You know, and that's how it actually started. And when we started talking about these four girls, I think the one thing that Ishita and I were very aware of was that we wanted to do this with a very, very clear female gaze. Which meant that we needed to have more of us women telling this story. Everyone, I mean, so we have a woman DOP, Neha Parthi, we have women writers, a woman director, we have a woman editor, Antara, we have women as part of our cast, we have women wardrobeists. So it's just the most powerful, fearless bunch of women that we could put together to tell the story.
It sounds like the kind of like cast and crew that I want to hang out with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to hang out with a whole bunch of women all the time?
So that was it. That was the beginning and the end, and that's why we're here.
Thank you. Anu, what was the experience like for you, getting on that set every single day, all these women, sometimes having to tell them to keep quiet?
Exactly.
Exactly.
This is how it was. Yeah. Well, and you know, you can reflect on your experience after, you know, a few months of having delivered it. And I can tell you this, it has been the best experience of my filmmaking career. It was exhilarating. I mean, and so liberating because, you know, we all worked so hard, but we all worked so well together. I have not seen that kind of constructive passion that comes together, and I think it's credit to Rangita and Ishita that there was a lot of integrity in the process, and so everybody got the space to do their stuff and do it well. You know, the writers, you know, me as a director, the actors, all of us, I think, just went there and just gave it all. And hopefully you can see that on screen. I mean, it was really great.
I'm sure. The energy is so infectious on this stage right now that I'm sure what we are about to see in the next couple of minutes is going to be absolutely amazing. And both for you, Devika and Ishita, I mean, would it be fair for me to say that because you all were women, writing for women, does that make it easier? Or does that almost somehow make it a little more difficult?
I think it makes it more difficult because you have to have perspective on yourself as a woman. You have to have perspective on your female friendships, on your family, the women in your family, and you have to look at it in an unbiased manner to create different kinds of protagonists and characters and give them that depth. So yeah, it is more difficult.
I think that was the joy of this show, to be able to see these characters through a pure female gaze, and to be able to write characters that have insecurities just like we do, that work hard just like we do, that have friendships, that have fun, that have fights. Just how real these women were is what made it an absolute joy for all of us to work on this show.
So there you have it. Thank you, ladies. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to ask you all to take your seats. We're going to clear out the stage really quickly. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see it.
Arya, jab se hui hai, I haven't had sex. Arya's almost 4. किसी के पास compact है क्या? Loo में जा and make friends with Vijayanti. Guys, that's my most expensive compact, yeah? तो अंदर थोड़ी ना घुसा रही है, सिर्फ देख रही है.
I'm Anjana, a single mother, and my vagina just refuses to come.
I'm Damini, super ambitious, super successful. I also masturbate pretty often. Much more efficient than sex. I'm a monk, bisexual, looking for adventure.
I'm Siddhi, I'm a virgin. My mom hates me. Hey bartender, 4 shots please, to freedom!
They're all just a bunch of vaginas still,
That means kick it in the balls! You are the one who's fucking moving on, okay?
So you also move on, na? कौन रोक रहा है तुम्हें?
शादी नहीं करोगी तो क्या है तुम्हारे पास, सिद्धि? Do you even love me?
You can't replace me. This is my new site built by me on my reputation.
चल चलते हैं ना, भाग चलते हैं मुंबई. तेरा मेरा कोई फ्यूचर नहीं है. ये खुशबूस करके क्यों? वजाइना बोला. I mean, just say it. Vagina!
What's the difference between men and condoms?
What?
Condoms have changed. They are no longer thick and insensitive.
Who? You're poking my nose, you psycho! Oh my God, no! You want me to put this in my face?
It's not used.
Damini, you're my patient.
Not right now. अगर एक बार और काव्या का नाम बोला तो you have to take a shot.
Yeah, it's that Kavya, 1 shot please. Kavya, 2 please. 3 shots. Oh God!
बोतल रख लो, जरूरत पड़ेगी.
Your cribbing makes my world go round. I feel like I'm home, and that all is well with those.
मैंने पढ़ा है वजाइना लाइटनिंग और टाइटनिंग के लिए क्रीम्स होती है.
What? मतलब नीचे भी men want fair and glowing.
अरे of course अंधेरे में चमकना चाहिए यार.
That went
आर्या जब से हुई.
hands together for Shayoni Gupta, Kirti Kulhari, Bani J, and Manvi Gagru. Give them both, all of them, a big round of applause. The fabulous, fearlessly female cast, all coming together, so excited to present to you their new labor of love. All right, and ladies and gentlemen of the press, joining our cast once again, let's have our fearlessly female creative crew come and join us onto the stage so that we can have all the women together for one photograph. All right, yeah, yeah. We'll also make sure that you get some more photographs at the end with all the girls, and let's find out everything that went on behind the scenes.
on screen and they think this is who you are, this is how old you are, and this is what you can play. So it was, so I was very, very apprehensive about it till, you know, my own husband reminded me that, listen, you're an actor. You claim to be an actor. This is your chance, this is your opportunity to show that you are an actor, you know, and not think about these stupid things. So when Rongita Ishita came, I was like, okay, female producers, interesting. When I said yes to it, I was like, female director, wow, very interesting. Then I met the writers. I was like, ye bhi female. I was like, kya baat hai? Then I met the DOP. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting too much. Ladkiyan to hain hi, upar se everybody else is also, you know, a female. I don't know how this is going to be with so many women together. You know, at the bottom of my heart, I was like, this is going to be so much fun. And I think that's exactly what happened. I have never had more fun on any other shoot. And it was just actually very, very surreal, you know, just being with so many women around you all the time. And I think we got along in a way which is very, very miraculous. Like, it just happened. It was magical. And just all I feel for all these women, I felt then and I feel that even more today, is loads of love and loads of respect for everything that we are and everything that we do. So more power to us.
All right, we have a question over there. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jigar. My first question is to the entire cast right here. Right? Congratulations, the trailer looks nice. And
thank
more power
you,
to you all.
thank you.
Your characters have an individuality. I mean, each of you depicts something. And a lot of women out there want to be the way like you are, but they are not able to because of some societal reasons. So individually, what do you characters want to convey in your scale? That's the first question, and I'll come to the second for the writers.
So yeah, like you said, there are things that every woman would see in our character, all our characters, and would want. There are things that are aspirational. There are things that they would even relate to. There are issues that they would relate to, so I'll just come to my character. So you know, so Siddhi is she's a very. I mean, she doesn't know who she is yet. She's been every time at every stage of her life, she's been told what she is. She's been told what to do, how to be, what to eat, how to dress, and she's constantly looking for that validation, which she's not got from that one source, which is her primary caregiver. You know, which forms the core of every relationship that she henceforth begins. So now that is the crux of her character, and I'm hoping that you'll see through the show, and I'm hoping women and girls who face issues like that, who don't know who they are, who don't know how to even explore themselves, will find that strength and that confidence to not seek external validation, to have this confidence within themselves, to be okay in being lost, to be okay in not fitting into any of the labels that society gives you or your friends give you or whatever, you know. Just that inner strength of finding yourself and having that confidence of just being who you are, irrespective of whether it fits into a mold or not.
For Damini, I remember Rongita called me initially for another part, and then, you know, I was actually in love with the 4 girls so much, and secretly, I actually fell in love with Damini. And I think if you put something out in the universe with the right intent, somehow it might sort of come true. On the 1st of Jan, 2018, I get a call in the evening, and I remember exactly where I was sitting in which friend's house. And I got the call, and I was like, Rongita is really not my friend to call and wish me Happy New Year. So I took the call, and I was like, oh, hi, Happy New Year, really sweet of you to call. And Rongita is like, what are your dates like? The next 3 months. And I was like, oh, why? And she said, well, are you interested in Damini? And I was like, what are you saying? So I start talking like Bani sometimes. But, you know, once I read Damini again,
I couldn't believe that actually I was being offered such an author back part, but also somebody who's so fierce, independent, but also as flawed and vulnerable and childlike. And she is very political. She's very righteous. She calls a spade a spade. She's very effervescent, but also completely unapologetic. And I sort of saw a lot of similarity between Shayoni and Damini. And you know, honestly, like, as actors, like Iti was saying, you're constantly sort of looking for that opportunity where you can just do that little bit more, you know, where you can actually create layers and make it more interesting. I actually drove Anu pretty nuts with that. But I was so excited that I remember going to set on the first day of shoot, and we were shooting for Anjana's house. And I couldn't sit still. I remember Neil Bhupalam, my friend, he was like, "Are you okay? I've never seen you like this." And I was like, you know, I'm very excited always to go on set and start a new day or a new film or a new show. But that day, I don't know what I felt, was just this weird energy from my gut. I was like, I can't wait to play Damini. I can't just wait to be her. And I think Shayoni also vicariously, there are so many things that you want to stand for, you want to put your foot in there and say, you know what, enough is enough, no more. And Damini has the power and the strength and the spine to do that. And I'm so proud that these girls actually created her and gave it to me to play her. Thank you.
And what may especially interest all of you is that she actually plays a journalist.
Yes. And Sir was actually a big inspiration. Yeah, it was. We had lots to discuss, actually.
Women down there, you all have acted in this film. Do you think this is going to take off in Orthodox India? And what other plans are there in future? You all are representing the mega cities down here. How about the rural areas also? Will they come out in films like that?
Well, I'll try and answer that to the best of my ability. I do believe that the future lies with, you mentioned film, but this is actually a series. The future lies with content that looks at what we are. Very often, the content that we see in cinema or in series is what we want to be. The hero is always who we want to be. The heroine always that pretty little wallflower we want to be. Here is a show about people who are as they are. And as you've heard frequently, the characters say, they're flawed, but they're wonderful. So I think more of Indian content will explore people as they are and capture the variety, the magic, the mystique of what we are as people. Women largely, and men too. Secondly, to answer the second part of your question, we have hundreds of films which have been made and lots of content which has been made for what you call rural India, but I would call tier 2, tier 3 populations. They have television to watch, they have movies to watch. It's, I think, an opportunity to tell urban stories too. And we in PNC have been telling urban stories from the very beginning. That's what we are best at. So we have stuck to what we know, not what we think we know.
I'm sorry, ladies, just 1 second, because I would really like Mr. Subramaniam to answer this question as well, because, you know, the platform has had both. We've seen other shows, we've seen this show, so I think it would be very interesting to have the answer from you as well, sir.
So, you know, in addition to everything that Pratish said, a couple of things, we look at it from the lens of the story itself. You know, we celebrate diversity. And so here was a great story that had an urban setting and had women at the center of it. We loved it. So sure, if tomorrow we have a similar opportunity to tell a story that comes from the heartland, of course we'll embrace it. Just as a perspective, on Prime Video, you have films like Tumhari Sulu, Lipstick Under My Burqa. These are all examples of really, really strong women-centric subjects, and they're all available to our customers exclusively on the service. So our perspective has always been story first, and we remain committed to that. And we will, at any given point in time, celebrate diversity. We are looking for authentic, unique stories. So there's no stopping us from doing exactly what you said, as if the right story comes along.
Also, if I may add to that, I did a film called Parched, which was actually about a group of women, female friends, who were in a village setup, but they were as liberated and as wacky and as confident and as beautiful and authentic as these 4 women, So it's actually not what is not important is the setting. What is important is how authentically you tell the story that you've set out to tell,
All right. Do you want to add something to that?
I also feel that, we often talk about this 2 Indias existing, India and Bharat, and urban and rural and all of that. That is also one of the central tracks, the tracks that we follow, because this is a story of 4 women who are constantly fighting that battle of traditionalism versus modernity. Because they've been brought up with certain values, and now they're beginning to question those values, because they're living their life on their own terms, which seems to be contradictory to what they've been brought up with. And these are things that we struggle with daily, like women today, whether in a mega city like Bombay or Delhi, or in a rural 2-tier, 3-tier city. But we're constantly fighting this battle of where are we, what do we do, and what are our values, and questioning those and stuff. And also, I feel that we've always, if we talk of feminism and we talk of the bra-burning feminism, I feel that was important for us to be where we are today. So if something seems extreme, it will trickle down to something maybe much less extreme, but as important. And I say trickle down only because we're talking about socioeconomic hierarchy. So, not to say urban is better than rural or the other way around. But so it will eventually be soaked in, to the other parts as well, in whatever capacity. So I think it's important, everything that we are trying to say, everything that other women, men, all the stories, all narratives have to be heard. They're important to be heard, and then listened to, and then we can all take a call on what it is that we think is right and what is wrong, in my opinion.
Can I just add? Is this working?
Please. Yes, it's working.
I think urban and rural are distinctions that we make based on geography. I think women are the same all around. Okay, I think, thank you. I genuinely think that there are women with ambition there. There are women who don't feel loved. There are plenty single moms in rural situations who are struggling with their drunk husbands who never come home. And there are plenty women who masturbate there as well. So it's pure geography that you're defining women by. And I think if there's anything that 2018 has proven to us, is that you can't put us in a box.
And that just sealed the question right there. Stamped, sealed, and delivered. We have time for that one last question, which is coming from the lady at the back. I'll come to you, sir, because you had a chance. But we have a woman at the back over there. Yes.
This is my question for Aparna. As content head in Amazon, what is making you select such diverse topics? And this one especially, where you're talking about women power and women empowerment, and you have an all-women crew on this particular series.
I think all our choices are determined by what consumers are seeking. We really work backwards from what are the kind of stories that people want to watch and are not getting. So I think that really helps us make our choices. This story, as I mentioned in the beginning, where do we see women like this on screen? Women who are flawed, as Rangita puts it. They are women who are work in progress. They've still not reached perfection. They are not aspiring for perfection. They celebrate these flaws. we just had to tell the story. And the fact that there are all these women, behind this show, telling this show, what better way to bring in the female gaze that we talk about than this? We had to tell the story.
All right. And ma'am, you had a question.
And where would we be without women with flaws, without flaws? Flawed women are the most exciting women in the world.
All humans.
And all women are flawed.
It's the representation which is untrue.
Vijay might like to start that.
You know, I couldn't be more fortunate that I'm actually a part of this story. I mean, I can put down many things that I believe are my own accomplishments, but this is really the right on top of that list. It just tells us that I don't think we should even take ourselves as seriously as we do as Indian men, you know. They can do perfectly fine without us. They're just being accommodating and taking us along. That's the long and short of it. It was absolutely fantastic, and seriously, I mean, as an Indian man, supposedly woke and all of that, you know, it pays to be a wallflower. Let them be. And I believe the future belongs to the Indian women, and so this was a great opportunity to put my name against that.
Over your right at the back.
Yeah, but we let Mr. Nandi just answer that as well, since it was also posed to him.
Well, I think I am the man I am because of the women in my life. The women I've met, known, loved, left, loved again, married. So that's true for most of us men. We are the products of the women around us. So it was a delight working with this team.
Thank you. And so the last question for you.
Right at the back, my question is to the writer and director. Firstly, kudos on the trailer. The show looks really good. And more importantly, we need such stories, such content in our society. Secondly, the question is about the title. It's very unique, innovative, trendy. But how did you all come upon the title? Was it a spur of the moment decision because it's trendy?
That's Rangita's question. We were actually having shots when they're like,
No. I think this actually started with a friend of mine, a very old and dear friend of mine, and we were talking about making something about women. And she was giving me all these really sad stories about the state of women in India and all that stuff, and we were having a ball telling these stories while we were getting dead drunk. And at the end of that evening, I remember looking at her and say, hey, why can't we just tell a story about 4 women who have fun and have these crazy lives which are flawed and all of the stuff that you've heard everybody say over here, and raise a toast to that. And we were drinking, that's where the title came up, and therefore 4 more shots, please.
And also to Pritish and Mr. Subramaniam, how has the collaboration been?
Well, I'm delighted by the collaboration. I'm not so sure Vijay would say the same.
You know, we couldn't ask for better partners, and I know this sounds a little cliched, but I actually want to thank the early creators who saw the opportunity and the vision and believed in Prime Video at such a nascent stage. You know, I can't emphasize this enough. Starting off, it was really hard for most creators to understand what exactly are we trying to achieve in India. What does customer centricity and variety mean? Is this sustainable? What does cinematic television mean? And so on and so forth. And here we have the early, bold, brave ones who just stepped into the great unknown, or as they say in Star Trek, boldly go where no man had ever gone before. That applies to Pritish. So, you know, we're very happy that they came and created a path along with us. You know, so I think regardless of how many other projects we do and how many seasons this goes into, I think and I say this on behalf of the entire team at Amazon, we'll always be grateful to the early creators to step forward and believe in our vision.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you. And then
I
on
just-
that note,
I wanted to add something. I just wanted to add
Oh,
something.
sorry,
If there's
sorry.
one production house that has delivered everything to us, the scripts, the cuts, everything before time, it is Pritish Nandi Communications. We are so fortunate to be working with you guys.
And can I please say something? I don't know what the deal is, but I really want to call, please, I want to call the DOP of the film on stage.
So would I.
And Ishita, please, Neha, please come on stage and join us. Antara, the editor of the series, who's again a female, of course. She's done a wonderful job, and
Ishita.
that's Antara, the editor of the film. Hi, Antara. You finally meet all the girls in person. And that's Ishita, the co-producer of the film, Ishita, and the other Nandi.
all right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the entire cast and crew coming together just for you. 4 more shots, please, ladies and gentlemen. 25th of January. That's the big day that you get to watch these perfectly flawed, realistic women.